Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin show. Today is January the 4th, 2020. All right. Strong hand, unconfiscatable. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. Deferral of gratification, conviction, golden age, relentless. We're going to talk about all of that. Strive for greatness. And I did say unconfiscatable. Oh, we're going to talk about that at the beginning because even though it's the Beyond Bitcoin show, I've got some Bitcoin news for you at the start of the show. Remember, though, check out This Week in Bitcoin. It was yesterday. A great show with Steve Barber. Blake Anderson made his return, and Ansel Lindner was on also. It was so good. Best freaking guest in the space. Hello, my elite friends. If you have questions, I've got answers. So you can type them in to the chat. You can do a super chat, or you can just type in Bitcoin Meister. I will, if I notice it, if it changes colors, it gets my attention. So you just can't ask a question without just saying, "Hey, Adam, what's the square root of 4?" No, don't do that. You got to do Bitcoin Meister or do a super chat. Okay, so I just found out that I'm going to be in Las Vegas on February the 22nd at Tone Vase's event, Unconfiscatable. So if you're in Las Vegas on February 22nd, I'm only going to be in Vegas that day, that one day. I'm going to be in Los Angeles before that and Los Angeles after that. I'm going to take a day trip to Vegas for Tone's event, Unconfiscatable. It's called in Las Vegas on February 22nd. And I just found that out before the show, got my bus tickets and everything. Oh yeah, you better believe I travel by bus. Pound that like button. And one way, it was like $4.50 one way. Leave from LA to, I got a deal. Of course, got a deal. All right. So we got people piling in there. Good to see everyone in there. We got people all over. So first thing I want to talk about, and so now we're going beyond Bitcoin because, again, if you're new to the show, Saturday nights, we do shows that don't exactly have to deal with Bitcoin, but I tie it in. Current events, health, and your questions for me, the Adam Meister lifestyle you get to learn about here and see what I stumble upon during the week when I'm on YouTube. And by the way, I hardly watch YouTube. I listen to it. I'm making food. I don't need to see people's faces. That's it. And you play it at 2x. You play it at 2x. That's how you save time with this. You don't need to see people's faces. If you're telling someone like, "Ooh, yeah, your facial hair looks different this time," you're probably not paying too much attention to the content. It's the content that counts. All right. So in Illinois, the broke state of Illinois, they decided they were going to make marijuana legal, and they are taxing it up the yin yang here. Now, I'm going to read you a quote. Chris Wright was taxed $21.70 on $78. He waited for more than 5 hours to make his first legal purchase at Nature's Treatment of Illinois. He paid $58 for Durban Poison Liquid for his vape. And he also bought a peanut butter milk chocolate bar. Very healthy. In Illinois, recreational marijuana is taxed roughly at 30%. That's on par with 11 other states who have already legalized recreational marijuana. Chris says these prices are not sustainable. And if they don't fall, people will turn to their connections. Okay. Chris makes a good point. Now, first of all, people in Illinois, what is your thing, dudes? You waiting out in the cold for 5 hours to spend on overpriced marijuana. So this was the reason Illinois is allowing marijuana to be sold. They want to cut down on the drug dealers, killing each other. Well, if you price it too high, there's going to be a black market for it still for guys that can sell it cheaper, and they'll still be killing each other. They'll still be drug dealers, okay? And they give all sorts of other reasons. This is what happens when you get the government involved. Just legalize it. People don't need permits to sell it. All this nonsense. You don't need to tax it up the yin yang. Just tax it Let anybody sell it at their store, tax it like your usual sales tax, okay? And then there won't be drug dealers killing each other, selling marijuana anymore. I mean, that was your, but the bigger point is, well, that's one point to it. It's just silly when the government gets their hands on anything, they mess it up, all right? But for you people, and also, Illinois is going to bring in a lot of revenue. Are they cutting down on their government spending? No, they're not cutting down on their government spending at all. They're getting more government programs from this. It never ends. It never ends. But dudes, you wait in line for hours and hours in the cold for this stuff. I mean, come on, dude. And you get your Reese's peanut butter cup too, or whatever the guy got. You know, you can do what you want to do to your body. That's your business. But I'm just saying, it's an obsession when you wait that long in line to get it. Okay, I mean, you got some issues. And I say the same thing about the people that wait in line for the latest video game and everything. It's nonsense. It's really a waste of time. You guys are so, I mean, these are the same people that are complaining they're broke. Okay. You're impulsive people. You can wait in line in the cold to waste your money on this, but you can't spend some time bettering yourself and learning. Okay. Think about it there for a second. People could waste their line for hours getting marijuana and saying that they're, I need this stuff. Life sucks. But they can't spend half the time bettering themselves. I mean, that's just the mentality. And I know some of you are going to say, oh, it's fine. I'm fine with it. Okay, some people are fine with it. Clearly, a lot of people are not fine with it. And they go down this rabbit hole. And one of the reason I even found out about this story was Yaron Brook mentioned it. And he mentioned the black market aspect, that there's still going to be a black market. So it was the whole point of this. If you price it too high, 30% tax. But that some of the people are just they don't care. The reason Illinois is doing it so all the people numb themselves and they don't realize they're being ripped off all sorts of ways, that they're tax slaves. But at least they're volunteering for this tax slavery. Okay. And Gummy Gear said, Bitcoin Meister, are you familiar with BitClub Network? Oh, dude, have you watched some of my shows? When they went down the tube there, I talked about how back in the day, the Great Tone Vase and others called them out and said they were going to become a scam. When I was earlier in my days, like in 2014 and 15, I wasn't sure about that because the guy behind BitClub Network was friendly with many, many people who were respected at the time. And so I was like, how can a friendly guy, how can this end up being? But then I learned more about cloud mining, and I knew I took a firm stand in 2016. All cloud mining is a scam. Do not touch cloud mining. Do not touch things that pretend to be cloud mining. And of course, it ends up that BitClub Network it was a scam. Yeah, it was a complete scam. Now, and I have to give credit to someone else. King of the Trolls was associated with it at one point back in the day when King of the Trolls was a respectable member of the Bitcoin community. He was against the guy behind BitClub Network too. He said, this sounds too good to be true. This sounds too good to be, and it was too good to be true. So I don't know why you're asking me about this, dude. But I talked about it recently when they just went down the tube. But thank you for the question. All cloud mining is a joke. You should never touch it. Just get the real thing. Bitcoin is the real thing. And we all learned it was an evolutionary process, because at the beginning, people didn't, the BitClub Network guys seemed legitimate, but by 2016, if you didn't understand, they were, that's when I made a video then and said, yeah, this is, because at one point I said, yeah, they might be okay. But anyway, and we'll get away from that. They weren't okay. They weren't okay at all. So, and that's the bottom line. Because Adam Meister said no, because Stone Cold said so. I don't know. Pound that like button for wrestling references. Oh, this is gonna be a long show. I just got through the first topic. Imagine if Silicon Valley disappeared. Yaron Brook brought that up. Silicon Valley produces, now you might not agree with all their politics. There's a lot of liberal dudes over there, but dude, that is the creative engine of this country. And the United States of America is the most powerful country in the history of mankind. So if that was missing, United States, the whole world's economy would be different. We wouldn't have the technological innovations that we have. You want to have your iPhone. You might not be watching me right now. So for people who want to tax Silicon Valley, who want to vilify the billionaires there, think twice, dude. Imagine this world without Silicon Valley. Now, if it did disappear, we would still have the entertainment industry in the United States. I think the United States would be well off, but the world would be a lesser place. And you do have to wonder, though, what innovations are being stifled by the government now, by taxation and by regulations that we just don't know about. If we didn't have regulations and taxation like we do now, the world would be a lot more futuristic, wouldn't it? But we don't know. We really don't know. I say let it fly. Get rid of all the regulations. Let them do what they're going to do. Let's not stifle the smart people out there. But I do want, there's a little exercise right there. Imagine if Silicon Valley disappeared. Okay. And by the way, there's some there's someone in the chat right now. I'm not going to say he's representing a crypto dividend, and I would compare that to BitConnect if you buy that stuff. I mean that's just the same thing as BitClub Network. Excuse me, as BitClub Network, not BitConnect. But it's the same type of thing. A cult of personality. That was what BitClub Network sort of was, because you bought into this guy's personality. And if you waste your money on ever buying such a lowly crypto dividend of a lowly scumbag, you're falling for the same thing. But yeah, I think you know who I'm talking about. So, dude, I mean, you can. And this is the cool thing about being on Adam Meister's channel. I don't censor anyone. So if you are the representative of a lowly scumbag ego coin guy who made a worthless crypto dividend, I don't kick you out of my chat. You can say anything you want over there. You can say anything you want. That's the rules of my chat. I let anyone. I mean, we get all sorts of freaks over there. But I'm going to tell you what you're talking about over there. If you're going to pollute my chat, I'm going to say what that dude is. And that dude isn't a good guy. Now, again, if you got this stuff for free and you dumped it, good for you. Then that's fine. But to buy it, nonsense. And to let that guy and to help promote that guy and to say that guy's name, to say the name of that crypto dividend, I'm not saying the guy's name. I'm not saying the name of his crypto dividend. And so that guy can yelp as much as he wants to in the chat or whatever. Because that's what we do over here. Anyone can say what they want to do. Okay, moving on. So we have Silicon Valley we talked about. Oh, Monday the 6th. Today's the 4th. Sunday's the 5th. Monday the 6th is like the first real work day in such a long time. I think it's been since Thanksgiving almost. Everything, people have disappeared. People do not work in December anymore in the United States and in the Western world. It is unbelievable. People in the Bitcoin have disappeared too. Bitcoin articles and not being printed anymore in CoinDesk. People have just been on vacation, not working as hard, doing their thing, doing whatever. I don't know what the heck they're doing. And one person hasn't changed their schedule at all. Udi, who is in Israel, who is in Tel Aviv, that dude is tweeting at the same rate he was tweeting in November and October. He doesn't stop. He is working. And I got to tell you, I was in Israel this time last year. I was in Tel Aviv, I think, starting either December 5th or 12th of 2018. And they don't take any days off of work. Christmas Day, they're all working. New Year's Day, all the kids are going to school there. It's not a holiday there. They continually work. And then you have these haters. Why are they so well off? Because they work. So compete, don't complain. All you people taking off of December complaining about Israel, you're lazy bums. And they're not. There you go. There's an answer for you. But hey, you can take vacations off. And if you don't complain, that's fine. And if that's your way, that is the comfortable world that we live in today. All these people are like, oh, it's so hard in today's world. Yet we have all these people taking off most of December, all of these totally off, totally not doing anything, That is the comfortable world we live in now. So, I mean, it's, that's the real world. But then you have people telling a story. Oh, the world is horrible. We need to go to socialism. We need to take away from the rich. But half the people complaining about the rich are taking off all of December. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Okay. All right. So no, I'm not. That one's not. Anyway, so Again, you can say what you want over there, crypto dividend dude, if you want to. But I'm not answering. You got to add that's not a. Anyway. You're trolling. You're trolling, crypto dividend dude. You're trolling, man. But I guess that's what your leader tells you to do, because that's the thing, and that's what he knows. He is a smart guy. Any attention that crypto dividend gets, it's good. Even if it's 90% bad attention, if it's 90% people screaming it's a scam, there's still going to be these guys out there, these gamblers that buy your nonsense. It is absolutely nonsense. And the market has spoken. It's worth 1 Satoshi. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So again, you are typing in Bitcoin Meister, so you're following the rules. You're following the rules. I know, but I can't. I'm not going to say the name of it, and that's it. All right. And if you really believe in that guy, you fall for a strong leader. You're one of those guys who needs someone to tell you what to do. You blindly follow. Do you believe in BSV? Also, it's the same type of thing. It's the same type of nonsense. To believe in these strong leaders. I'm creating the best one out there. It's the best one. Oh, ignore that. Ignore this. Ignore where the money's going. Ignore this, that, and the other. You blindly follow. Again, you're not that special. I'd say about 10% of the people out there just blindly follow people and believe everything they are told. You're one of those guys, I guess, that believes everything they're told, like the BSV guys. So Roman Q says, Trump slams the Iranian terrorist with a missile, Baruch Hashem, and they blame Israel for it. Oh, of course. I haven't heard of blame Israel. Oh, well, at first they suspected it was Israel, but no, the United States took credit for it. And the United States did. Maybe Israel helped. I don't know. For it's disgusting. Have you ever had an Iranian Bitcoiner on your show? Innocent Iranians need Bitcoin now more than ever. I have not, but I do know when they were doing the lightning torch, that the guys from Iran sent it to the guys in Tel Aviv, and I thought that was very nice. And it was a brave person who did that. So no, I don't think an Iranian Bitcoiner that would be in Iran would show his face. I don't think they would do that. It's not a good idea, because they've had many economic problems. They would be considered against the government. That would not be a good idea. I don't know if an Iranian Bitcoiner in Iran has ever shown his face on YouTube. I would not recommend an Iranian to do that at all. I don't think that's a good idea. We're going to talk about Iran in a second. Hey, Retro Fred said, check out Shield Folio notebook I created for writing down private keys. Well, that sounds interesting. Send me a DM at TechBalt, TechBalt. I'm not promoting this, guys. I don't know exactly what this is, but hey, I'm on Twitter at TechBalt. Everybody can DM me there, TechBalt. Shield Folio. I don't like the folio, portfolio. Anyway, but just send me your thing. Send me your thing. All right. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, so we talked about Monday the 6th. So guys, focus on topics that only you can control, okay? Personal issues. Take care of your personal issues. You can't control what Trump does. You can't control who's running for president. You can't control who wins the Democratic debate. So don't waste your time. Focus on an issue that you have control over. And if you do that, you won't waste time and become bitter and fall out of motion. But if you become obsessed with some of these worldwide issues that you cannot control, you worry about them, you become paranoid about them, you make up stories about them, you go down a rabbit hole of nonsense, and you start scapegoating others for your problems, et cetera, et cetera. It's what I've talked about many a time. Okay, so the guy says, well, Retro Fred, I'll check out your thing later. I'll check that out. Shield, I'll check that out later. But if this is really awesome, as you say it is, send me a DM, describe it to me, and yeah. But I just copied your URL there, so I will check it out. Thank you. So there was a movie a long time ago in the 70s, was it? Beginning of the 70s? Soylent Green, it was called, and it was supposed to take place in the year 2022. The cumulative effects of overpopulation, pollution, and the associated effects of global warming have caused severe worldwide shortages of food, water, and housing. There are 40 million people in New York City alone, where only the city's elite can afford spacious apartments, clean water, and natural food, and even then at horrendously high prices. The homes of the elite usually include concubines who are referred to as furniture and serve the tenants as slaves. Okay, so that was, people thought that was going to happen. That was a doom scenario. Compare that to the real thing. Compare that description of 2022 to what's going on in 2020. And this is the doom mentality. They made a movie about the doom mentality. Doomers in the 70s were thinking that's how things were going to be in the 2020s. Guys, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Innovation saves the day. Innovation always comes along. Life has been getting better and better and better. Life is so much better than when that movie was made. And their vision of the future was so doom and gloom and was a joke. And again, it talked about some of the buzzwords. Overpopulation. Did overpopulation happen? People were paranoid about overpopulation, that the world was going to be too hot, that New York City was going to be a horribly packed place. I mean, New York City, it became an elite. Manhattan is incredible compared to what it was in the 70s. So I thought that was funny to take a look back into popular culture, what they predicted for this time. I mean, it's not 2022 yet, but clearly 2022 isn't going to look a thing like Soylent Green. And I'm not going to give away what Soylent Green is. Pound that like button. Okay. Vention in his latest video talked about avoiding electrical interference when you sleep. Like having a cell phone next to your TV, next to your bed. I agree with that. Well, first, I don't have a cell phone. I don't have any electric. I turn off the computer. When I did have a cell phone a while ago, I made sure that was not near me, not in the same room as me. Try to stick away. Some people need to have they're so addicted to, that's the biggest thing that can cause problems. I mean, people got to have their cell phones. They put it on their night table right next to your bed. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that, is there proof of that? I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea. What's the point? And it shows how addicted you are to the thing. You don't need it when you sleep, for God's sakes. You don't need it when you sleep. You don't need that electronic stuff near you near your head when you sleep. All right. Don't be a slave to that stuff. And perhaps being a slave to that stuff might be affecting people's sleep patterns. I don't know. I'll tell you this. I have great sleep. I have to sleep 8 hours. My body needs it. And I don't need an alarm clock or anything. Like to get up for synagogue today, I tell myself I got to be up at 8:30 a.m. I'm up before 8:30 a.m. I got a natural clock. And that's because, of eating healthy, of fasting, of being in motion, All right. So there's my health tip of the day. Avoid that electronic equipment near your head when you sleep or in the same room even. But the further away from your head, the better. Retro Fred said, hey, Bitcoin Meister, what do you think about decentralized corporations eventually bringing down big tech companies? No, I don't think that's going to happen. One of the first mainstream examples is the Orchid token. Look at you. You want me to say the name of some token. Okay, dude. Is that your way to promote stuff, to make me say some token's name? No, I don't think decentralized is the answer to everything, dude. Having a centralized company, well-organized, centralized company, it runs more efficient than some decentralized thing, okay? Will there be decentralized corporations one day? Yes, something, but I don't think it's something that we can really envision properly right now. What they're doing now is experimentation. Let your friends experiment and do whatever they want to do. But I think centralized corporations are here to stay. And they can be run very efficiently if you have a CEO saying no or yes. This goes, that goes. You need decisive leadership in a corporation sometimes. I mean, check out Jeff Bezos over to Amazon and pound that like button. Okay, Bitcoin to the Moon said, Bitcoin Meister has a strong hand, long-term thinking mentality, like Bitcoin. Pound it. Thank you, Bitcoin to the Moon. Hey, by the way, you get Bitcoin to the Moon shirt below and shirts like this. They're all linked to below. All right. Someone says they're late. Oh no, dude, you're not late. This is gonna take a little while, dude. I got a lot to talk about here. All right. It's good to see you all on this late night, wherever you may be. And in LA, where I will be soon enough, it's still January the 4th, 2020. I hope I said January the 4th, 2020, not December. Don't want to go back in time here. 2020s, baby. Fun here. I'm talking about time. Speaking of time, here's a fun article that talks about time distances here. When World War II started, the Civil War felt as far away to Americans as World War II feels to us today. Check that link out below. It gives all sorts of little comparisons like that. I like those type of exercises with that compares the time in the time that has passed between now and a certain time and the time between that time and the past. Yeah, just check it out. By the way, I said this on another show, but since this is the Beyond Bitcoin show, I got to say this latest saying that I made up. El Paso is the Perth of Texas. Now, I will be in El Paso. I've never been there before in my life. I look forward to it. I'll be there starting February. What was that? What day? I mean, January 14th until February 11th. So I'm in Tucson, Arizona right now. But I say that because El Paso is in a beautiful state of Texas, but it's in its own little region. It is not near another large city, just like Perth is in the beautiful country of Australia, but it is the most secluded big city on the planet Earth. It's the furthest away from another major city. And in terms of Texas, El Paso is the furthest away from another major Texas city. So it's got some comparisons to Perth. I hope it's as quirky as Perth. I really love Perth, and I look forward to El Paso. Here we go. Here's something for some of the guys out there. When victimhood becomes currency, it gets counterfeited. Ooh, that's by Bruce Fenton. When victimhood becomes currency, it gets counterfeited. So yeah, right now, victimhood, everybody wants to be a victim and everyone's making it up. They keep, sure, there are real victims out there, but since it's so cool to be a victim, everyone's becoming a fake victim now to be cool. Control your own destiny, guys. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. Don't blame anyone else for your problems, okay? You take care of yourself, dudes. You take care of your stuff. All these guys scapegoating, they're in doom holes. They're nothing. They're not in motion. And hey, let them. That's it. If victimhood is that's the mainstream culture now. Let them stew in their victimhood and I don't know, go round and round in circles while the people in motion are changing this world, baby. We're changing this freaking world. All right. So Andrew Yang. I wanted to talk about Andrew Yang. What did I want to say? I know I haven't gotten there yet. Remind me when I talk about voting. Well, I'm not going to jump down there. Hope I remember when I talk about my voting later in the show, because I am going to vote this year. I found out I'm going to be able to vote. We're going to talk about that in a second. And I'm going to talk about Andrew Yang. Okay, so we did the victimhood thing. Yeah, and unfortunately, Andrew Yang does appeal to the victimhood thing because he's saying, hey, you guys are losing out on your job, so I'll just give you $1,000. All right, whatever. He is a smart guy, though. All right, so on Twitter, Republican VP was trending a few days ago. And they were just because Joe Biden said that he was asking a question, and he said that he might bring on a Republican VP. And everyone on Twitter starts going crazy. They're like, that is horrible. Joe Biden is horrible. That'd be, like he was inviting Satan to be part of his ticket. And, I thought these guys weren't into generalizations. He didn't name a specific Republican. He said he might put a Republican on his ticket. So these people aren't judging individuals. They're judging groups. Oh, what's that sound like? That sounds like racism, doesn't it? When you judge a group, you see an Asian man and you say, well, he must be this, he must be that. I mean, that's what racism is. I don't get caught up in worrying about stuff too much, but it's traditionally the Democrats who are obsessed with racism and making generalizations. And they hear a guy talk about diversifying his ticket, and without knowing who the person is, they make a broad generalization about who could be that Republican he puts on there. It might be a Republican they like. They don't judge the individual there. He's not going to do it anyway. I mean, he first of all, he doesn't know half the. He was asked a question and he sort of gave that answer, but and some people in the threads were like, well, just imagine if a Republican. Why don't Republicans try to do something like this? Why won't a Republican put a Democrat on his suggest putting a Democrat on his ticket? You short-term memory people. who think you're all political experts now because you got a Twitter account. The people who say that a Republican would never think of that. You don't remember when John McCain suggested that John Kerry be his running mate? He actually named a person. Okay? And John McCain was a Republican. He's deceased now. And he mentioned John Kerry, a Democrat, perhaps as his running mate. Why not? So for all the people who are like, why wouldn't Republicans ever suggest? They did. That was 12 years ago, dudes. I mean, perhaps some of these people were in, I guess, elementary school at the time. They don't know. I don't know. Who cares? But it just shows you the ignorance that is on Twitter. All right. So Roman Chu says, when are you picking cities to travel to? When you are picking cities to travel to, do you take into consideration whether the city has a synagogue or not? Yes. Now I do. Yep. Now I do. I didn't used to, but I do now. Good question. Very good question. Since everything changed in 2018. Yes. Yeah. Now I do. So what is this now? Okay, so we talk about very good question. It's like you're reading my mind, because it is something that I have. I always make sure I know where it is when I go to a town now. All right, so Yaron Brook had a great video. This is one of Yaron was on fire lately, at least the videos I've been watching of him. I agree on some stuff with him, definitely his take on some of the doomers out there. He's a guy that wants people to be in emotion, so you can take that away from Yaron Brook. But he mentioned in this one video, he mentions Ron Paul and the USS Liberty. Basically, he says that there are a lot of people who dislike America, and they need a storyline. They need an excuse to vilify America. So they take it to extremes by saying, like, the CIA and the FBI is behind everything that is going on in all of these countries. Like the Hong Kong demonstrators, that's not real. The Venezuelan demonstrators, that's not real. It's all, it's CIA funded. It's this, it's that, and the others. They don't, no. Those regimes are fine. They were elected regimes. They should be left in power. The people are up. They're CIA operatives. It's all the United States trying to take oil and trying to take this and trying to hurt China and blah, blah. And this is the Ron Paul Institute. He was saying has pro-China articles on it apparently. And yeah, the whole Ron Paul it's conspiracy nonsense. It's conspiracy. He's gone down this rabbit hole where the United States is the evil behind everything. And that is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. They are people that seek freedom throughout the world naturally. And just because supposedly Maduro was elected doesn't mean they don't have the right to get rid of that guy. Okay. And that if the United States want to help those people, I think it's just to send them funds to help them. Why not help them to get rid of such a horrible person? And it isn't for the oil. The United States just doesn't take the oils. People don't understand. It's Venezuela that took the oil from the corporations. Okay, legitimate corporations were mining that oil. Okay, and then the state takes it away. That's stealing. The United States doesn't go in there and take the oil for ourselves. It would free the country to be a capitalist country again, where the companies could take charge of their oil fields and make profits off of it, and not run it inefficiently like the Venezuelan people do. But it isn't about. And again, the Ron Paul people, they blame it on the bankers. It's all the bankers, or everyone. It's all for the United States has wars for the bankers. United States helps Hong Kong for the bankers. These same excuses over and over again. It's scapegoating. Ron Paul's a scapegoater. He's a scapegoater. So I liked how Yaron Brook did a much better way of explaining and I know Ron Paul, a lot of people admire him because he wants to said he wanted to get rid of the Fed and all this, but he feels America's the problem for so much in the world. And no, America doesn't start the problems of this world. No, it doesn't. America isn't the villain of this world. Get with it, people. I know it's a trendy thing to be against America, to be what's the word I'm thinking of there? Counter, whatever it is. No, it's America should be an inspiration to those people, and it is an inspiration to the people of Hong Kong. the way America is supposed to be. Individual freedom, individual liberty. That's what the United States, what was founded upon. And these countries that we're talking about, China and Venezuela, they're not into giving individual freedoms to all. Definitely. Okay. Not at all. So yeah, blame it on the bankers. So then people start. They always ask Yaron Brook, because he was born in Israel. They ask him all sorts of nonsense questions. So some of the same people that like Ron Paul love to cry about the USS Liberty, which happened in 1967. And Yaron Brook gave a beautiful explanation of it. Yaron Brook has been in war before. He has been in the fog of war before. There's something called the fog of war. Okay, it gets confusing. In 1967, Israel was about to go to war with 7 Arab nations. Okay, and at the start, I believe it was at the start of it, the United States had a spy ship there, and Israel bombed it. Israel bombed the ship. They thought it was an Egyptian ship. They thought it was an Arab ship. They got it wrong. They apologized. They killed Americans. It's a well-known thing. But you get all these and 53 years later, you still have these people whining and screaming about it. Oh, it was a planned thing. They bombed America on purpose. Why on earth would Israel bomb the United States of America when they're about to go to war with all these other Arab countries? Okay, why? Why would they do that? Why? Did they want to make America their enemy? Like, it's 53 years later. Does it seem like Israel wanted America to become their enemy? Okay. No, Israel didn't want to get on America's bad side. Israel didn't want to trick America into helping them. Israel didn't want to do this. Israel did it on their own. Israel before 1967 had no United States weapons. All their weapons were from Europe at that time. I think mostly France they were buying from. It wasn't until after that the United States did begin selling weapons to Israel. Now, these are all good, legitimate points that have been put out there before. But it made no sense to stir up the United States to risk doing such a silly thing like that. Oh, we don't want America here, so we're just going to bomb America. You're not going to do that when you're about to take on. If Israel didn't fight those 7 Arab armies, then there would be no Israel. They had to focus on what the real issue was. But people don't put that in perspective. Israel wasn't trying to make America their enemy, as you can see over the last 52 years or whatever. It was a mistake. It was a mistake in the fog of war. And then the great Yaron Brook points out something that being in the Israeli army, that he witnessed in the Israeli army during the fog of war. He saw Israel mow down a line of its own tanks. Okay? That happens sometimes. He said many Israelis died that day. They thought they were bombing a line of tanks of the Arab enemy, and they bombed their own tanks. They killed everybody. Their own lines of tanks they killed. It happens. It happens. But if you are a scapegoater and you are obsessed with Israel, which certain people are, it's a sick obsession that, let them waste their time with it. I think it's pretty funny that these guys, all they do is worry about what Israel did in 1967. Oh, the cause of all my problems, it's Israel. That's why I'm poor. That's why I have no friends. That's why I'm, sitting in the same place all day worrying about the end of the world. It's Israel's fault. It's Israel's fault. Dude, Israel killed their own people by accident. Israel killed Americans by accident. It's the fog of frickin' war. I'm sure in other wars, friendly fire is a huge percentage of the people that are killed during wars. It's scary. Here's my advice to you people. Don't join the army. Don't join anybody's army if you don't have to join the army. It's a government program. There are mistakes in government programs. They happen. But I thought that was really interesting that Iran, he himself said, he saw Israel kill their own people by accident. And it happens. It happens. It's sad. That's the fog of war. Okay, so let's move on to a subject of a year ago. It was a year ago that my grandmother was in the hospital, and they tried to upsell her on hospice. They were like, well, you should go to the hospice. You could be comfortable in the hospice, which means like you should die. They said you should die because my grandmother got very ill. Everything was spiraling out of control. And she was on the verge of death. She almost died. They didn't want to do the operation and all this stuff. And they were just, because she was 96 years old. Now she's 97 years old. They just gave up on her. They're like, she's 96, why don't you go home and die? The hospice is nice. We can charge the insurance company a lot of money for it and blah, blah, blah. That'd be great. And But no, she wasn't having that hospice. And, my mom and everybody got her bed. Long story short, they said to go to hospice. It's a year later. My grandmother's driving her car around. Life, baby. Life is important. You don't throw away your life. It ain't over until it's over, baby. You don't throw in the towel, baby. You don't do that. Life is precious. So, hey, I'm happy to say that my grandmother celebrated her 97th birthday the other day on December 28th. Now it's 2020, so she's back in the 20s again. She was already in the 1920s. Now she's in the 2020s. She has lived in every year except the year that's ended in 21. So because she was born in 1922 and now it's 2020. So she hasn't been in a 21 ending year yet. But yeah, that's next year's goal. So I spoke to her on Friday. She's fine. And that's a lesson right there for your people. You don't give up. You never give up on anything. That's clearly the Meister. She's not a Meister. She's my mom's mom. But that is my family's. That's our way. We don't give up, baby. You do not. It ain't over until it's freaking over. Actually, my father, I remember when he told me that slogan. He's like, there's this guy named Yogi Berra. I'm like, Yogi Bear? Like, Yogi Berra, the Yankees. He's been fired like 3 times or something. He has a slogan. It ain't over till it's over. Yogiisms, he was telling me about. Of course, I was a little kid. I didn't know exactly what he was talking about. But later, I got it. So my dad told me that. I don't even. Okay. Anyway, okay. Let's move to something that surprised me that I did not know about. In the United Kingdom, they pay $195 a year for TV. I linked to their television licensing. You have to have a TV license in the UK to have TV. This is ridiculous. UK Bitcoin Master told me we have patrol vans out with large white dishes on top, detecting people with no license. And there could be a hefty fine for watching TV without one. I was shocked. I had no idea about this. UK people, man, good luck with that one. All right. And that's just to have regular TV. In America, if you want regular TV, you buy a TV. Put the aerial up. My mom still has regular TV. She doesn't have cable. It's so I guess the logic is the station controls the airwaves and gives the permission for the stations to exist. Thus, you have to pay. No, it's private enterprise. It's a private channels that are they're giving out their signal. You get it with your TV. Why do you need a license? You pick up the signal with the TV that they're giving out. Here's a great communism quote. We're still not to God. I still haven't gotten to the Andrew Yang thing yet. Hope I haven't been on you. Great communism quote here from Gary Kasparov, I believe. It's nice they have options about communism now. It's great they have opinions about communism now, because once you're living in it, you don't get to have an opinion about it anymore. So there was a poll of young people in America. A lot of them like communism. And so he said, and this is what they should be told. It's nice to have opinions about communism now, because once you're living under it, you don't get to have an opinion about it anymore. Good one there. All right. What creates wealth? By Prager University. This is an old video that I just found. And the answer is innovation. And that goes back to the Silicon Valley people. They are producing wealth. Innovation produces wealth. Let the innovation fly, baby. Let the innovation fly. So that's why I say, even in this cryptocurrency space, let the altcoiners do what they're going to do. Maybe they're going to stumble upon something. Don't try to stifle them. Don't try to You're happy with your Bitcoin. That's great. So I linked to that video below. U-Haul, this is from CNN actually. U-Haul says it will stop hiring people who use nicotine in the 21 states where companies are allowed to consider tobacco use when making hiring decisions. The policy will not apply to current employees who may smoke or use nicotine in some other manner. Okay, I say, yeah, why not? Because these same states are making these corporations pay for their employees' health care. So I wouldn't want to hire anyone. If I'm forced to pay for health care, I wouldn't want to hire a smoker either. Companies should be free to reject any employee for any reason. But that's not the way it is in the United States or in any country that I know of. You have to, you can't reject. It should, if the company wants to make a stupid mistake and discriminate against people for a stupid thing, then let them fail. Let them fail. But if they want to discriminate to save some money, let them do it. Whatever. But no, we have rules that. But now apparently you can discriminate against because tobacco smoking has become so vilified. And guys, if you want to smoke your tobacco, you can do it. Whatever. I just don't want to pay for your health insurance. Okay. I don't. You smoking tobacco doesn't mean I get to pay for you smoking tobacco. That's the way the world should work here. But right now we're living in a world where people think, if someone is a poor, then it's the rich person is indebted to the poor person to take care of them. I mean, that's not the way it works. Personal responsibility is the new counterculture. So yeah, I'm for, if a company didn't want to hire me because I had black hair, I think that's fine. All right. So was it? So Iran, the terrorist leader of the army of Iran, a very popular person in the Middle East among certain people. The Iranians had attacked our embassy in the United States embassy in Iraq, and it was part of this guy's clique. They even vandalized it. So in the past, when our embassies have been attacked recently, we do nothing. The United States does nothing. The embassy is supposed to be part of the country. So it's just like, it's really like attacking Maryland or attacking Delaware. That's the way an embassy is thought of. So it's like an act of war if someone attacks your embassy. Now, recent people have become used to what happens. Benghazi gets attacked. What Jimmy Carter did when the embassy in Iran got attacked. They're used to this peaceful response, et cetera, et cetera. So what did Donald Trump do? He didn't start a war. He didn't invade a country. It's what I've been saying. We possess weaponry that is so technologically sophisticated, we don't need men on the ground anymore. We can take care of our problems. So he killed the man who was in charge of all this stuff. That seemed pretty fair. And some other ones that were with him, some other plotters. He destroyed them. He ended it. And were they angry? And so what's wrong? So now all these people are screaming World War III doom talk all over the place. Okay. So I think it's ridiculous that people are scared there's going to be a World War III because of this. No, the Iranians, they know not to push the envelope anymore. Okay. I think they've learned their lesson. Now, are they going to try some other? Yeah, they might try some other things. But they're not starting a war with the United States. They know very well what will happen to them if they start a war with the United States. And that this guy, love him or hate him, this leader means business. He's not Jimmy Carter. He's not Barack Obama. He's not them. He's more like what Reagan was. He's more like Reagan. And I mean, that's the way you got to act with terrorists. You don't give terrorists an inch. You don't give a terrorist an inch. If they poke at you, you punch them in the face. You destroy them. And that's what he did. So again, it's not a war. All these people on Twitter, they become experts again, in vice presidents, they become experts they're experts in war. They think a war is about to start. And again, my question is, why do people keep on signing up for the army though? Why do people want to be in the army? Because if you do sign up for the army, right now, if there's ever going to be a war again, where's it going to be? It's going to be in the Middle East. Probably it's going to be in some godforsaken place that's poisonous and disgusting, where you're going to get sick, where you can get shot. You guys, some people are like screaming, like enlist. If you're such a fan of this, enlist. Now, what are you talking about? People don't need to enlist anymore. We don't need an army anymore. You're naive. We don't need an army anymore. Don't guilt others into your mistake. I mean, if you join the army, if you join that government program and you feel like it was a mistake, okay, learn from it, move on. You're not being sent to Iran right now. No war was just started. It's a government welfare program. It is the army. That's what it is. If you join, I mean, a lot of people, they join it, and they join for patriotic reasons. That's great. That's great, dudes. Know what you're getting into, though. Know what you're getting into. You could be sent somewhere still, even though we shouldn't be sending anyone anywhere. United States doesn't need to send human beings anywhere anymore. They really don't. But for some reason we do sometimes. This situation, we clearly don't need to. but just why would anyone want to be in an organization? Let me ask you guys this. Okay, they're saying enlist. You should enlist. Why would anybody want to be in an organization where you volunteer to be a mindless slave? I mean, so I can go to college for free, so I can get prestige. It's not worth it, dude. It's status slavery. You're volunteering for status slavery. If you join any army, you're volunteering for status slavery. To be a proper member of an army, you must blindly follow orders. Does that sound like cool to you? Something you want to do? Yeah, I want to be in an organization where I'm going to blindly follow orders. I can be shot at. I can be killed at any time. Yeah, sounds cool. And there's no point, and at least for America, there's no point anymore for human beings to be on the ground fighting these scumbags anymore. If we want to fight terrorists, we send our drones in there. I mean, if you want to be in the army and play with a joystick in Florida and play with the drone and then shoot Mr. Iranian, okay, cool, whatever. But still, you're blindly following orders. Okay, I mean, be careful there, dudes. The army is it's not my cup of tea, definitely. Again, you can still be sent in theory to these godforsaken places. Know what you're signing up for, dudes. But no, I don't see why the army just doesn't right now say, all our armed forces, like, we don't need humans for this anymore. We don't need humans. We have drones. This is how we're going to do it from now on. If you mess with us, we're not even going to risk our own blood anymore. We're just going to send in our drones and start bombing the targeted killings. And it's clearly easily can be done. This was a high-ranking official, very high-ranking. I mean, this is like the second most powerful guy in Iran. So it just shows it's like they are in the Stone Age still compared to where the United States is. Okay, so think of it that way. So I don't like that we still have guys running around trying to protect Iraq. It's not necessary to have men on the ground anymore. It really isn't. We are so much more technologically sophisticated than these people are. And I think now also people, I think the Americans are seeing like the Israeli perspective on this. The same thing happens to Israel when they kill one of these terrorists. They go out of their way to be very careful. They use their drone. They kill the terrorist. They blow up. And they're Israel's so horrible. They killed one man. They did this. They did the other. Here's all that these terrorists. All they have to stop doing is bombing. Israel bombing United States, attacking innocent people. That's all they have to stop. Do their own thing, live in their own little world, and then they won't have to deal with Israel or the United States anymore. They won't have to deal with that. But no, they just can't help themselves. They're impulsive. They want their power. They lost. You see, these are the people they don't understand. They already lost. You lost. Why not just go live your life? You lost. I don't know. They're going to do what they're going to do. But it was a good move. It was definitely a good move by Trump. Definitely a good move. And it's not the start of a war. It's not a start. And the funny thing is, for all you guys that are like, oh, it's the CIA that's behind the uprising in Venezuela. Well, how about this? After what happened to Mr. Terrorist in Iran the other day, what do you think Maduro is thinking in Venezuela? Anyway, is he feeling more comfortable now? Is he feeling very comfortable walking around Venezuela? Yeah, man. I'm the Maduro. I'm the commie. You never know. You never know what's going to happen, dudes. So Will Chamberlain has a great reaction to what happened in Iran. They attacked our embassy, and now they know not to touch the USA. And everyone, he says that there are all these people on Twitter that are saying we should worry about the reaction of Iran. No. Iran should worry about the United States. And that's not the way it used to be, but that's the way it's going to be again. That's the way it should be. They should worry about the United States. The United States shouldn't worry about their reaction. They're a pipsqueak. They're nothing. They should be worried about and now they are worried. They are worried now. They know. They've learned. So they should stop their activities. Just stop bothering us. Stop bothering the world. So yeah, Will Chamberlain, good stuff. All right. What do we got here? Oh, and for those of you interested in political polls, realclearpolitics.com. I linked to it below. If you ever need your fix of who's leading the polls, if it's Biden, this, that, the other, you don't need to read a long article. They give a new poll every day if you're interested in that kind of thing. I link to it below. Okay, so I will be in Maryland for only 14 days from December 12th, which has already passed, until the last day in June. But and it's for Passover, I'll be back. But it just happens to be that the early voting for the Maryland primary election is during that 2-week period. So I will be able to vote. I won't have to do an absentee ballot. I will be able to do early voting in the state of Maryland. So at this point, I'm just going to vote for Yang. It'll be a protest because I'm a registered Democrat. I never changed. Whatever I read when I was like a young kid, I registered and I never changed. It really doesn't matter that much to me. So I get to vote in the Democratic primary. So it'll be a protest vote for Andrew Yang because he's definitely he's a long-term thinker. I'll give him that. I definitely don't agree with all of his nonsense, but he's from a different clique than all these people. He's from that Silicon Valley. He's got the Silicon Valley mentality. He's from there. He's entrepreneurial. So this is just a protest vote. So that's who I'm voting for. I know people have asked me, what is this here? Oh yeah, he is the one guy talking about Bitcoin. He is talking about Bitcoin. So that's another reason. He is long-term about the future. And it's funny that some of his competitors like Biden, I doubt they've even used a computer before. So, I mean, there's my logic. I'm going to vote for the person who's familiar with Bitcoin, has got some creative future ideas and is in touch with technology at least. As these other guys, my lord. All right, we've got. Let me see. Do we have any other questions? We don't have anybody typing in Bitcoin Meister there. We got a lot of people chatting in there. It's good to see. All right, so Gloria Allred was on Ben Shapiro's show. And I think she's a big lawyer. She's represented, I think, all sorts of ladies that have made accusations against powerful men. And she thinks a woman should have control of her own body, but a man can't hire who he wants. Okay, that if a man discriminates against a woman for whatever reason, he's going to get sued. All right, okay, so a man can't control his business. A woman can control her body. Now I think, okay, let a woman control her body. Let a woman control her body, okay? But why can't a man control his own creation, his own business? Okay, she bragged about forcing Trump to let biological men into his beauty pageant. Okay, a private business should be able to discriminate against people anyway, okay? In any way. They should be able to discriminate against people who believe in what Gloria Allred believes in people that participate in those activities that women that say they control their bodies participate in. Okay, if a woman participates in that activity, you should be able to say no, you can't come into my business. But no, Gloria Allred will sue you for that. But she's fine for she thinks it's perfectly cool for a woman to control her own body and kill whatever's inside of it. She thinks that's fine. Okay, and that's cool. But then it's not cool for a man to control his own business. All right. Her take on individual rights, it seems like it's a little messed up there. I don't know. Personal responsibility, guys, by the way, if you have intercourse, there's a chance you're going to have kids. So you're going to have to worry about it, okay? So if something is illegal, you better, before you, if you're not able to get a medical procedure in a certain state where you get pregnant in, well, then don't get pregnant. When you have intercourse, yeah, a lot of the times you end up making a baby. Okay, so she watch her argument with Ben Shapiro. I hope I linked to that below. I think if not, it was the Sunday special. You can Google Gloria Allred and Ben Shapiro. He was very polite with her. He did a very good job. When you have a guest, you're to be polite and everything. But I think she definitely showed her true colors out there. She's a lawyer. When she's going to sue. That's her business. That's her business. That's why you try to avoid lawyers at all costs. You don't want to get into those legal entanglements. And it's unfortunate that we are living in a time where if you do own a regular business, you got to deal with things like this. That's just the way of the game. You got to deal with the Allreds of the world. So my advice is be very careful who you associate with. Okay, Roman Q says, just a reminder, you said before that you hoped you remember to mention something when you talked about Yang. Yeah, I just wanted, when I talked about voting, I wanted to make sure that I was going to mention that I was going to vote for Yang and the reasons I was going to vote for Yang. Can UBI work with Bitcoin when you cannot print it? What's that exact? I mean, is universal basic income with Bitcoin? You couldn't. No. It could not work with Bitcoin. If the universal basic income was being paid with Bitcoin, no, it wouldn't work. A universal basic income has to be paid with a fiat currency. It has to be paid with something that you can just keep printing and printing and printing. It has to. That's the only way it's going to work. It cannot be a limited currency. You need to be able to print as much of it as possible. And I think hey, if UBI happens, it'll help Bitcoin. It will help Bitcoin. It will cause inflation in the dollar. It will cause some inflation. It will cause more people to become addicted to the United States government. It'll probably make it might even prop up the welfare dollar, make the dollar more respectable in some people's eyes. I don't know. But you'll definitely be able to see a clear difference between Bitcoin. At least smart people will be able to. You see, the thing is, if the welfare dollar is propped up, then people will believe the story of its greatness, and the 80%ers will still be hooked on it. And you'll know the truth. You'll be in Bitcoin. You'll be fine. That's the beauty of the Bitcoin overlay. So the dollar isn't going anywhere. I am not threatened by the dollar at all. I think the dollar it's great for the people who use it. It's a spending token. You're not the saving it. UBI will make it less of a savings mechanism. It's not a savings mechanism at all. It'll be making it more of a spending mechanism. So those of us who believe in savings, we will already have been in Bitcoin at that point. So value your wealth in Bitcoin. Let them do the UBI thing. I'm kind of curious to see how that experiment would turn out. Now, I believe in UBI. I think UBI would be great if they got rid of all other welfare. If you could not be on any other kind of welfare program if you got UBI, but that's not going to be the case. And also, I don't like that part of the UBI thing might be funded. Part of his proposal is being funded by a value-added tax on everything, a national sales tax. Now, don't add another darn tax. Just print the darn money. Just print the darn money. All right. And yes, and that would be a tax by inflation on savers in dollars. But I'm not a savers in dollar. I'm a saver in dollar. I know better than that. Okay, pound that like button. Jayant Bandari, and thank you for the questions. Jayant Bandari says, he's been on my show before. He's a straight shooter. He actually talks about Hong Kong here, and I'm gonna. He was in Hong Kong. As I write from my 4-star hotel in Hong Kong, which cost me a mere $25 per day, I cannot but think about how erroneously risk is priced into the market. When I arrived at Hong Kong airport was eerily quiet, with tourists avoiding it. Unbeknownst to them, however, Hong Kong continues to be one of the safest places on the planet. So I said this before in a previous video that I think now would be a great time to go to Hong Kong. That I bet it's pretty cheap to go to Hong Kong right now. So what he's saying is that people are scared to go to Hong Kong. Thus, the market is saying we're not coming here, and the prices are dropping on the hotels because no one's going there. But yet it's safe. So they're incorrect. So yeah, there are protests going on. But if you're not in the protest, if you're just there in business, he just said he's paying $25 a night for a 4-star hotel in Hong Kong. And I did check the Airbnbs for Hong Kong, and it did seem like it was cheaper. So those of you who, admire my traveling around the world style, how I don't live anywhere, I just go from place to place, Airbnb to another, and you want to try it out at a kind of an exotic place, go to Hong Kong now. Go there now. It's cheap. Go visit. Just avoid the protests. You'll get to experience a different culture. It's a good value now. It's cheap. Get a cheap airline ticket possibly. There's some deals that come out here and there. And I've give you other good starter cities too. Santiago, Chile, they're having protests now. It's always cheap in Santiago. Go to Santiago, it's safe, it's fine. And yeah, I've given other recommendations in the past, but I do like how Giant definitely lent some credence to my theory there that Hong Kong would be cheap this time of year because of all the negative press that it's getting. And I wouldn't be surprised now that everyone's scared. Oh, Iran is going to try to do something stupid. That and they mentioned Tel Aviv in one of their propaganda. One of their guys said something about Tel Aviv. That it's probably cheaper to go to Tel Aviv now too. That some tourists will be scared to go to Israel now because they think World War III is about to start or something like that. It's great. And I'll be in Israel in May. I mean, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. They're not attacking Israel. They're not that stupid. Again, they exactly know what's going to happen now. Thanks to Trump. That was a good move on his part there. You got to smack those terrorists around sometimes. All right, so that is it, I believe. Yeah, we'll leave it on that Hong Kong thing. All right, let's see. Someone says, Adam, vote for R. Well, I can't vote in the Democratic primary. I can't vote for an R. You got to vote for a Democrat. When you're registered Democrat in the Democratic primary, you vote for a Democrat. All right. All right. Am I going to be? I don't know where I'm going to be in the general election. And by the way, okay, remember, guys, the way the general election works, it's the Electoral College, and I am from a state that I can already guarantee you is going to go for the Democrat. I actually guaranteed that in the year 2012. Like I probably could have. I can guarantee you that in the year 2028, the state of Maryland is going to go to a Democrat. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who I vote for in the general election. Or if I vote at all. It's that overwhelming in the state of Maryland. The state of Maryland is not Donald Trump is not spending any money in the state of Maryland. No Republican. If Maryland was ever on the table, then the Republican would be guaranteed to win. It was even a question of Maryland not being a Democratic state in the Electoral College, the Republican would win. Something would be totally off with the world. So no, my vote doesn't count in the general election. It's just not the way I like the Electoral College setup. It gives power to the states. We should never go to United States should never go to a popular vote. Again, this is if you care so much about politics and all that stuff. But again, it's the Beyond Bitcoin show. So again, I'm a registered voter in the state of Maryland, and it will go Democrat in 2020, 2024, and 2028, 2032 also. It's nothing I can do about it. And the Republicans do not spend any money for a presidential election in Maryland. It would be a total waste of their money. It only boils down to like 10 states. Pennsylvania. If I was in Pennsylvania, it would be different. Or Michigan and Florida. Okay, we went into that in another video. All right, dudes. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Check out all the links below. Get the shirts. Thanks a lot, dudes. I will say hi to all you guys in the chat and click on those squares. Pound that like button. See ya.